Happy Tuesday and welcome back to The Average Fisherman, everybody. Got a nice Hendrick's Martini here. It's been raining a ton the last couple days. Thursday is probably going to be my only chance to go fishing, so look for it then. Tomorrow, it's not actually supposed to rain, but it's going to be windier than a bag of farts. I'm just telling you. So kayak fishing is not on the menu for tomorrow, considering the wind speeds and stuff. But let's get into the point of this video. When is it okay to save money and go to lower end rods that aren't necessarily high end? So this is my best combo. This is the combination that I use when I'm predominantly finesse fishing using a casting setup. It's an Abu Garcia Fantasisa X paired up with a Revo MGX high speed reel, and this one is 7-foot medium heavy extra fast. Okay, and that has the 20-pound Hercules no fade braid in moss green. Let me just show you guys the reel. That is the reel. So this is my super finesse setup. I call it my super finesse setup because that is an extremely sensitive rod. And it's made out of 36-ton graphite with 40-ton reinforcement, and it has an extra fast tip. So as everyone on the channel knows or would know, this is like a $320 rod, okay? That's just not in the wheelhouse for a lot of people. So when is it okay to go to those lower end rods that are in the $50 to $75 mark? A really easy way to figure that out is if your lure has treble hooks on it, go to the cheaper rods, okay? And now there's more than that. Like, let's just be frank. It's anything with a treble hook on it, spinner baits, buzz baits, moving rigs like A-rigs and stuff like that. It's okay to go to those lower tonnage and lower spec rods because you're not going to need the extra sensitivity that comes along with having the higher spec, higher modulus graphite rods. And in fact, using those lower spec rods will probably catch you more fish. The only reason that you need the high-end spec rods, the ones that have the really stiff graphite, you know, they have the really extra fast or fast tips, is for the sensitivity. And you don't need that when you're fishing moving baits or using power fishing techniques because you will know when a bass bites your lure. You're pulling a spinner bait through the water, you can feel the little hum of the spinner turning, and all of a sudden, boom, dead stop. Bass got your lure. You know, it's very plain when you're power fishing if a fish bites your lure. You know, the 24-ton rods and stuff like that, more than sufficient for this. And I would even say that if you're using a moving bait, like especially like an A-rig or a buzz bait or a spinner bait, or even the vibrating jig or chatter baits and stuff like that, it's really beneficial to have less than a fast action tip. I would go at moderate. And the reason being is you can actually overset the hook with a fast or extra fast tip on those moving baits. You feel it immediately, boom, you set the hook before the fish really got it and you pull it right out their mouth. Okay, it's actually happened to me a couple times. Now, being as I'm predominantly a finesse fisherman, I only have 2 rods in my collection that are 24-ton moderate action graphite rods. And those are the ones that I tend to throw my buzz baits, spinner baits, and lipless crankbaits on because those are the 3 predominant power fishing lures I have. I have like 2 jerk baits and that's about it. I have a bunch of spinner baits and I have 2 buzz baits. And that's the only things that I use when it comes to power fishing. Everything else I own is finesse fishing related. Not that there's anything versus, right? Like one isn't necessarily better than the other. And in fact, under a lot of circumstances, power fishing techniques will catch you way more fish than finesse fishing will. It's just a simple fact of the matter that I enjoy finesse fishing better. And I'm not out there trying to catch loads of fish every time I go. I'm trying to have fun. And that's as simple as it is. That's as far as it goes with me. I'm predominantly a finesse fisherman simply because of the fact that I find it more enjoyable and therefore I use power fishing techniques very few, seldom, and far between. So however, if power fishing is more your style, lipless crankbaits, square bills, A-rigs, buzz baits, spinner baits, any of those kind of moving baits, if that's more your style, you can definitely save a truckload of money by going to those lower spec rods. I'm going to go as far as say that you can even go to get away with using those techniques on a glass rod, which is in the $20 to $40 price point, as long as you have a decent reel. because you're not going to need the sensitivity of graphite to use those techniques effectively. You will know when a bass bites your bait on a moving lure. You will know this. It will stop dead if you get a good bite. And having that moderate tip and even the softer power of like a glass rod will mean that once you peg that fish on that hook, he's going to have a hell of a time to get off, because any surges or anything like that that the fish may pull right after he's hooked is going to get absorbed by the whippiness of that rod. So one of the few circumstances where I would advocate for like a glass or a composite rod or something like that is using power techniques for bass fishing with moving baits or treble hooks, because that's actually going to be much more effective than the typical super sensitive high modulus graphites with a fast tip. So any questions about that, guys, you can drop it down in the comments. I have a lot more stuff to go in detail, but I am starving and it's dinner time and I've got my martini here to finish. So I hope you guys are doing good, or doing well, I should say. And I hope the weather where you are is certainly better than it is where I am, because since Friday, the weather's kind of sucked. And since yesterday, it absolutely poured raining last night and this morning, everything is going to be kind of messy for the next couple of days. I'm going to try to make it out in a kayak to go Thursday, maybe do some bass fishing, but I'm going to be checking on the brim. Pretty much that's what I'm anxious for, is big bluegill season, because that's what I'm super looking forward to. So anyway, you guys, save money where you can. It's unnecessary to spend all that money when you really don't have to. If power fishing is your thing, you can definitely save truckloads. Tight lines, my friends.